We are live. What's up, guys? Welcome to the DS Podcast. Let's get right into it. Welcome back. We have a special guest here, Ramel. Do you mind introducing yourself to the audience?
Absolutely. Hello, everybody. My name is Ramel. I'm based in the UK at the moment. I'm in London. Um, I work in IT as a cloud infrastructure engineer. Recently landed my first IT role. I've been training for, say, just little over a year. I've traveled a fair bit, done a few holidays in Europe, America, the Caribbean. Lived in Asia also. I've lived in China and lived in South Korea. So not just visiting for holiday, but lived in both those countries. Speak Chinese, Mandarin to a decent level, and currently roughly about intermediate in Korean, still learning. I have big plans to move back to Korea, so I'm heavily focused on Korean studies at the moment.
That's amazing, man. So what are your thoughts on like the passport bros?
Ooh, okay, that's a pretty general question. Do you want just my general thoughts or on something
Um,
specific?
it's up to you, man. All you.
Okay, I think for the most part, it's a good thing. We all know the problems we're facing in the West, and that comes in many different aspects from a dating perspective. So you have those social issues from a dating perspective. We have other social issues in terms of class, being black men in the West. We know how that goes. We can get into it more if you want, dive in more. I think brothers in America have it actually even worse than us in the UK on the racial aspect. It is pretty bad here in the UK, but I do believe it's worse for brothers in the States, especially given the history of the country, how we even ended up there. Um, what else? So, also, yeah, and on the dating side, we know in the West, there's absolutely an agenda going on. It's in plain sight. Before, a few years before, it was more subtle. You'd have to have a level of awareness to see it, and they used to hide things in plain sight. Now, especially since COVID, I see the powers that be. Um, they're a little braver now, and you can see the agenda clearer. And such agendas include the emasculation of the black man, well, the male populace in general, but especially the emasculation as a black man. As a black man, I'll speak for black men, but males in general, there's definitely an agenda to weaken men. There's agenda to bolster women to become the head of the household, to be independent of men. Not to say that there's an issue with women working or having their own, that's fine. But I think it's beyond that. It's way beyond equality, diversity, all these buzzwords that they say. And women are being taught to be independent of men, which is not natural. We need each other.
Yeah.
We absolutely need each other. Man needs woman and woman needs man. And when you look at nature, everything you can learn from nature, we all have a role to play. You have a role to play as a man, and a woman has a role to play as a woman. And it's like any basketball team or football team. Football for me or soccer for you,
Yeah.
but basketball. Imagine you got the point guard who really wants to act like he's the center. You want the center trying to be the shooting forward. You got to play your position for the team to win. The team only succeeds when each individual plays their position to the best they can be. And right now, we live in a society where men and women aren't playing their position, but the roles are all skewed. So, coming back to the question, I absolutely see the need for the Passport Bros movement. And I think for brothers to find a better quality of woman in the dating sphere, I absolutely understand why brothers are seeking better options abroad. Also, better financial options. If you're lucky enough to work and earn in US dollars or British pounds, but live in other countries, you have an economic advantage also. So I absolutely see positives with the Passport Bros movement. However, let me make this clear. However, nothing's perfect. Nothing's perfect, brother. There are a few downsides. So from what I've seen is, and this is just my own observation. You can tell me what you think afterwards. So let me put it out there. For the most part, I absolutely agree with the passport bros movement. I was a passport bro before I even actually knew the term, what it was, when I first moved over to China. And that was because I was sick of the situation in the UK regarding dating and finances and the economic turn. But I find a lot of brothers buy into the hype a little bit and almost trick themselves, as in they expect a utopia outside of America, outside of the UK. And it doesn't quite work like that. Not all brothers, but I have seen certain instances where brothers go abroad and are disappointed because they've kind of built this image in their head that women will just fall in their lap the moment they turn up
Yeah.
as an American in the Philippines or Colombia, and it doesn't quite work out that way. You still have to have game, good frame, work on yourself, your mentality, your physique, make sure your finances are in order. There's still work to be done on yourself. It's not as simple as just leave the West and all your problems go away. So there's a balance.
Yeah. I gotta say, man, that was a perfect breakdown of what you basically just explained for Passport Bros and what's going on right now. Um, I gotta applaud you for that one, bro. So so what made you come to South Korea, man?
Okay, so it was a complete accident. Complete accident. I didn't know much about South Korea beforehand. I thought kimchi was disgusting. So I did. I like it now, but before it was just some cabbage thing I knew they had. I thought it was awful. I knew they always come fourth place in the World Cup. That's literally all I knew about South Korea. I didn't know much about them. Long story short, I was living in China in 2019. I was teaching English over there. Previously, I worked for the government in finances. I got bored of that. I wanted a bit of an adventure. My China trip got cut short because of the pandemic. So I had to come back home to the UK. I stayed in the UK for about 10 months. And then I finally got the green light that I was able to go back to China. Now, at that time, it was, I'd say, end of October, November 2020 that I was told I could return to China. At that point, the pandemic really hit the UK hard. Whether there really was a pandemic or not, that's a story for another day. That's a separate conversation. But let's just say the UK was on heavy lockdown at that time, November 2020. So there were no direct flights to China. I had to do a connecting flight to South Korea first. Got to Korea, did 2 weeks quarantine. Now, for myself, there were some other English teachers I knew went straight over to China once the quarantine finished. I thought, well, I'm in a new country, never experienced Korea before. I'd give it an extra week. I'm not going to go straight back to China. I would stay a week, teach remotely online, just see the country for a week. So I booked an Airbnb, explored a little bit for a week. And I kid you not, brother, I kid you not, the night before my flight to China, I'm packing my bags, getting ready to go to the airport the next day. I've done a week in Korea, dated a few women, had a few adventures, made some friends. I was active in just that week. The night before, I got a message saying that China had just cancelled all British people's visas because the UK had just gone on serious lockdown.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so anyone from the UK couldn't enter the country. So I had a few other UK friends of mine that also were teaching English that were in Korea. Because they left straight away, they managed to get in. I didn't manage to get in. The night before, I saw the news that British people cancelled. So I had to stay in Korea. I saw the UK was still on lockdown. I thought, well, I'm not going back home to the UK if it's lockdown like that. And luckily, the school I was working for in China, they allowed me to teach remotely online. So my time in Korea went from 1 week to 7 months. So I was truly blessed, truly blessed. So that's how I ended up in Korea.
Wow. Man, that was a big situation there.
Oh yeah,
So what would you say is like the best tourist spot in South Korea?
tourist spots.
Yeah.
Okay, if it's specifically tourist spot, I'd say Itaewon or Hongdae in Seoul. Specifically tourist spot. I wouldn't say best spot, but best tourist spot. Itaewon or Hongdae, probably even more so Itaewon. In Itaewon, you're gonna find a crazy level of diversity there. I was shocked. I got to Itaewon. I'm in South Korea. I'm seeing kebab shops everywhere. I couldn't believe it. It was just like being home in the UK. We have a place in London called Shoreditch where we go out, and then after people 2, 3 in the morning, clubs are finished. You come out, you see everyone at the kebab shops getting a kebab. I saw that in Seoul, in Itaewon, and I was so shocked. I was like, wow, why are there so many kebab shops here? It's just like London, it's crazy. And then you have Brazilian restaurants, Italian restaurants, hookah lounges. I'm seeing French people. I've met Peruvians, Colombians, Brazilians, a lot of French people actually, a few Spanish, a few Africans. I met so many people from all over the world. Itaewon's very international. So yeah, if you want a tourist place in Korea, I definitely recommend going to Itaewon. You do get a lot of international people in Hongdae as well, but not as much as Itaewon. But both of them are very known as a popular tourist destination, especially to go out, party, go to the bars, just have a good time. So for your Friday, Saturday night, you definitely want to go to either Itaewon or Hongdae.
Okay. Oh wow. So what's your recommended like best
Sorry, bro, I didn't catch that. Say that again.
so what's your recommended best spots in South Korea?
Ooh. Okay, it depends on what you're looking for. It depends on what you're looking for. If you just wanna have a wild night, have a good time, get into some trouble with some females, hit up Itaewon or Hongdae. Absolutely. They got a lot of well, it depends on what you're into, but maybe I'm stereotyping, but they have a lot of hip hop clubs in Hongdae. You're gonna find a lot of hip hop clubs in Hongdae actually. In Hongdae, you'll find a lot of Korean women that are into hip hop, a lot of black culture. You get more of a mix in Itaewon. Some might be into more Latin culture, some hip hop culture as well. More of a mix in Itaewon, but definitely a lot of hip hop culture in Hongdae. So partying, absolutely Itaewon or Hongdae. Now Gangnam is a bit more upscale. Gangnam is where you see the money. So you go out and Gang. It's also a very, very good place to go out if you want to party, have fun. Gangnam is also a good place to go out. But compared to Itaewon and Hongdae, expect to spend a bit more money in Gangnam. Gangnam's just the next level up. Gangnam is let's say Itaewon is international. You're gonna find a lot of foreigners there of all different ages, sizes, races, everything. Hongdae is either university or young working professional. Gangnam now is more professional, working, got some money in my pocket, or daddy's credit card. That's Gangnam. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're gonna find that. You're either gonna find got a real good job, running a successful business, or daddy's credit card. Those are the kind of people you find in the Gangnam. So it's a bit more bougie, a bit more upscale. It's still a lot of fun though. That's where you're gonna find Korean women more dressed. Well, Korean women dress up everywhere. To be honest with you, they're very fashionable people. But that's where you're gonna find more girls wearing your Chanel. Your brands, people just stepping out a bit cleaner, a bit more sophisticated. Gangnam for that. The bars are really nice, the food's nice, but you just be prepared to spend a little more money in Gangnam. So that's if you want partying and things. If you want something a bit more low key, chill, so let's just say you want to just enjoy the vibes, just go to a nice low key bar, not too many tourists, but still have a good time, meet good people. There's a place called Mangwon, Mangwon. I lived there for a time. It's very, how do I describe Mangwon? There's two sides. You have a hipster side, and then you've got a more low-key, sophisticated side. They have a lot of very nice bars, coffee shops. It's way more low-key. You see more locals, but it's a great place to go out. Not as many tourists. So if you want to meet more Korean women who are not so into foreigners, that are a bit more low-key, harder to find, not as easily accessible to other foreigners, Mangwon is a great place to go also. Now, for wifeys, if you don't want to just have trouble and you actually want to look for a more serious long-term relationship, a couple different places. If you're in Seoul, I highly recommend just take a
Avoid
day
it.
and tour around the universities.
Oh, okay.
Oh, absolutely. The universities are gold for finding something serious. If you want a serious relationship, a serious girl to date, wife or wifey, go around the universities. And you don't have to be a student or anything. Just walk around. The campuses are huge. I'll give you a gem. There's one specific university. It's called Ehwa University, EHWA. So this university, I found this out in Korea. A Korean friend of mine told me this. So this university was always known as the wifey university. Literally. So back in the day, so let's say the 80s, the 70s, all the way through the 90s, they said if you find a woman who went to Ehua University, you found a wife. All the women just came out of there. I don't know what kind of training or schooling they had, but in Korean culture, they just always knew, yeah, that's a wifey right there. Even to this day, some people still say that. It's not as prevalent, but I took a few trips to that campus, and brother, my gosh, the beauty is abundance. So I dated a woman from there. She was a piano major. She majored in classical piano. So she toured the country doing concerts. She was also a tutor. She taught classical piano. Honestly, hands down, probably one of the best dating experiences I've ever had. This woman was so sophisticated, so elegant, but also very down to earth. Wanted to learn more about Afro beats for me, learn my culture. It was amazing. So yeah, I definitely recommend the universities if you want to find something more serious, and coffee shops. Last point I'll make: Koreans are obsessed with coffee. Obsessed. Like, it's ridiculous how obsessed, to the point where every single street, every single road will have a coffee shop or several coffee shops on it. It's everywhere. You can't escape it. I've never been to a country with so many coffee shops in my life, and I've been to many countries. They're obsessed. So going into a coffee shop is a great place to meet women. You'll see university age studying, you'll see working professionals having a break or doing work there. Coffee shops is a great place for cold approaching.
Man, you're bringing gems right now, man. Holy.
Oh, also I forgot, outside of, that's just in Seoul. That was only just in Seoul. Outside of Seoul now, you want to look at the province of Gyeonggi, Gyeonggi-do. Now, Gyeonggi is known to have wonderful, beautiful, and more traditional women. So not too traditional to the point where they're country, but there's a nice balance of modern but traditional at the same time. So not too Western, not too westernized. You can find a lot of westernized women in Seoul, but in this province of Gyeonggi, which is outside of Seoul, and there's many different cities within Gyeonggi, you'll find more traditional women, more low-key women. I've met some gorgeous women from Gyeonggi who moved to Seoul to work, and I found the trend. The women from Gyeonggi absolutely wifeable. Daejeon as well, Daejon. Daejeon's very low key. Also a place known for traditional, beautiful women. So if you're more marriage minded, those are two places you want to check out: Gyeonggi-do province and Daejeon city. Daegu is a nice place to go. It's very low key. So that's Daegu. Daegu's low key. Not many foreigners go there. Only problem is, be warned, it is hot as hell in the summer because the city is situated almost like within a mountain area, so not much wind passes through. So it is just a sauna in the summer. You've been warned if you go to Daegu. Busan is great. Busan is the second largest city in Korea, so it's bustling and vibrant like Seoul. Is a bit westernized, just as Seoul is, but the people in Busan, it's a beach town all the way down south. They're more laid back. They're not as on the hustle, busy like Seoul is. So yeah, those are a few other cities where you can find, some fun. And Busan, bit international, not as many foreigners as Seoul, but still can find a lot of foreigners. Can find, if you want a bit of a Western influence, still a lot of hip hop in Busan, a few reggae bars. They love Latin culture over there in Korea as well. So you find, if you any brothers do salsa, bachata, you can find a lot of Latin bars over there. So yeah, Busan's a good place to check out also.
Mm. Yeah, that's interesting, man. So, what would you say is like the best time of the year to actually travel to South Korea?
Oh, definitely around April. And the reason why I say that because that's cherry blossom season. And cherry blossom season, one, it's gorgeous, it's amazing. The country is just beautiful, the flowers just bloom, and just go in there to see it in real life. It doesn't sound that exciting speaking about it, but when you're there and you actually see it, it's amazing. And the vibe, you feel the energy of the place also because people are always out in abundance. You're going to see so many people out just taking pictures of the cherry blossoms. People just really want to be out during cherry blossom season. So that's a great place to go. And it's a great time to go because it's an amazing time to meet people. Everybody's out, everybody's just friendly. It's known for people to take a bit of time off work, just go and enjoy the scenery. So April's a good time. Korean winter is freezing cold, absolutely freezing. It snows a lot. I've had worse winters. Like the UK is freezing, but the UK is more damp. It's very damp and moist, whereas in Korea it's a dry cold. So I actually found it better. It was colder, but I found it better. I don't like it too damp like the UK. It's horrible. It's a dry cold in Korea, but it's absolutely freezing. You have to layer up. I mean, t-shirts, jumpers, jackets, maybe 2 jackets, layer. It is freezing ridiculously. Summertime is baking as well, absolutely baking. So, oh, ridiculous. So go in April, it's just right. Not the winter's done, it's not too baking hot, the weather is just right. Plus, it's cherry blossom season, people are out. The girls are really open to meeting people then because everybody's out. So March, April is the best time.
Mm. So, how much money do you think you can like get by, and then have like a simple lifestyle and then lavish?
Hold on, bro. I just thought about something with the last question you asked. I'm still gonna stick to March, April, but although summertime it can be ridiculously hot, it's festival season in Korea in summertime,
Okay.
and they have crazy festivals. It goes off. If you ever get a chance, just YouTube the Korea Water Bomb Festival that goes off every summer. So it's a big festival they have. They have live performances in this huge park. They have the stage, live performances. Everyone just has a water gun. They're just shooting each other, throwing water balloons. So many beautiful women getting wet. You know, it's nice. It's a good environment, man. It's fun. You're gonna have a good time, meet some friends. It's really fun. They have loads of pool parties going on in all these prestigious, really nice hotels. So many pool parties. With performances. Also, yeah, just throughout Korea in the summer it's festival season, all different kinds of festivals. So that's a good time to go. The weather is baking, but it's worth it for the festivals. Sorry, brother, with your other question.
No, you're fine, man. Man, this is sounding really nice, man. Because I've always thought about like traveling to like Philippines, Japan, South Korea, checking out Vietnam. That's probably also like a hidden gem.
Mm.
Um, I don't think I'm actually going to China just yet. Probably late in the future, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll definitely see, man.
China can be fun. China can be fun, but I wouldn't really recommend it. There's other places I'd recommend first. With China is fun. Don't get me wrong, it's amazing. But if I just wanted to go somewhere just to see, I wouldn't go China. I would only go to China. Recommend going to China is if you have a purpose, for example, work, because
Yeah.
China is great for making money. You can make money in China in whatever industry you're in, whether you're a teacher, IT, fitness trainer, whatever you do as a foreigner, you go to China, there is money to be made. So if you have some sort of economic purpose for being in China, I'd say go to China and live it up because there's a lot to explore, a lot to see. China is very much fun. But outside of having an economic purpose, I'd recommend other places first.
Okay. So how much money do you think we should have when living in South Korea? Like just getting by, a simple lifestyle, and then like a lavish one.
Oh, okay, that's a good one. So Korea is a first world country. So it's not as expensive as the US or the UK, but it's nowhere near as cheap as, let's say, Thailand or the Philippines is. I would argue it's cheaper than Japan. I hear Tokyo's pretty expensive. I haven't been myself, so don't quote me on that one. I don't want to say too much of what I don't know. But from what I'm seeing, it seems as if Tokyo's more expensive than Seoul. So yeah, not as cheap as Southeast Asia or South America, but definitely cheaper than the West. You could, on the lower end, I'd say anything between 1,003 to 1,005 you can get by a month. You can definitely
Okay.
get by. Yeah, definitely get by. But if you want to start living a more comfortable, like really nice lifestyle, I'd say about $2,000 plus, $2,000 plus to really live good. But you can still live on, I'd say, about 1,003, 1,005.
Okay. Now, when you say 1,003, do you mean like 1,300 or?
1,300, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So what about like a lavish lifestyle, like living like really, really good? I guess anything over like 4,000.
Yeah, man. Boy, anything over 4,000, you're good. You're good. I don't have much to say on that. Especially if you're in Korea or anywhere in Southeast Asia, there's not much to say. You can do whatever you want. Literally, you can do whatever you want.
Mm.
Absolutely. Most people that I've seen fall within the category between maybe 1,300 USD to 2,000. I haven't seen many people lower or above that threshold. Actually, I've seen a few above that threshold. The Arabs are living lavish over there. I've seen a few Arabs in South Korea, all over Gangnam, the money area I told you about, living well. I had a friend from the UK who has his own e-commerce business, so he doesn't work anymore. He just fully survives off his e-commerce business. He does Amazon drop shipping, so he's over in South Korea right now. I met him in a gym over there, and he does very, very well for himself. I won't go into too much detail about his business, but roughly between 3 to 4,000 to live on a month, and he lives very well in Korea.
Oh wow, that's kind of nice to hear because I actually also do e-commerce
Mm.
with Shopify, and I do like I have multiple businesses where I'm doing like where I'm using Shopify, but I guess that's a whole nother video. um, so how are the apartments there? Is it all mostly modern, like 80% or something like that?
Very
Or-
modern, definitely very modern. In Seoul, if you're in Seoul, the apartments are going to be small. Not as small as Japanese spots, but small, definitely small. If you want, you're going to have to spend more for a bigger space. But I've noticed when you go outside of Seoul, you do get large apartments for cheaper. For example, oh, it's hard without showing pictures. But if you ever go on Airbnb and just have a look, you'll see the difference between, let's say, set your location to Seoul, and then let's say set your location to Gyeonggi, the province I mentioned. The same amount of money, let's say 800 to anything between, let's say 700 USD to 1,001. I wouldn't spend 1,001 on rent in Korea, but if you want a nicer place in Seoul, you're gonna have to spend more. But you can get nice places for as cheap as $500 a month. Still get a decent spot. It's just going to be smaller if you're in Seoul. Just bear that in mind. The space won't be as big, but you still have very nice apartments. Very nice apartments for about 500 USD. You can live well. Anything less than 500, you can find that easily, but it's just not going to be as nice. But 500 to 800, you can get a good deal. For example, I at one point was living in Hongdae, fantastic apartment complex, very spacious. It was a loft style apartment. So the apartments in Seoul, they're almost all inclusive to the sense that you walk in, you have the living room and the bedroom. It's all open plan. That's the word I should use. It's all open plan style and quite small. So everything might be in one room. But when you go outside of Seoul, that's when you start having separate rooms and more space. A great place I recommend if you're looking for a decent apartment, but you don't want to stay too far away from the main city, is Suwon, Suwon. Suwon is situated just outside of Seoul, just outside. And Suwon itself is a popping city. Like, a lot is happening. There's a lot of fun going on. So it's not country by any means. It's not even it's a smaller town than Seoul, but it's not a small town. It only takes about 40 minutes or 45 minutes to get into Seoul from Suwon, but the difference in price for a nice apartment goes drastically down. So I would recommend staying in Suwon, but traveling into Seoul to do your bits and bobs.
Okay. Man, that was a hidden gem right there.
Mm.
So, what's the preferred public transportation there?
Oh man, in Seoul, transportation is amazing, amazing, brother. It's so efficient. I don't think I've ever seen a delay on the underground.
Oh, wow.
The whole 7 months I was there, I don't think I ever saw the underground or subway delayed at all. It is so efficient, clean as well. If you've been on the subway or the underground in London or New York, it's disgusting. Man, it is rank. I think London and New York are very similar, man. You just smell pee and dog everywhere. It's horrible, man. The seats are all
Dang.
trash, worn out. That was one of the first things I noticed when I came back to the UK. So from the airport, I had to get the subway back to my area. I got on the subway, I just looked around, I was like, damn, this is what I've come back to. I don't miss this. Like, the UK almost seemed third world to me when I came back. Like, Korea is just so clean, so sophisticated. The infrastructure works to a T. So yeah, I'd say the subway is a great way to get about. Seoul is such a huge city, so you will definitely always be using the underground. It's easy to navigate. You'll figure it out very, very quickly. There's Korean and English, so it's absolutely fine. The bus system, you can figure it out. It's a little more complicated, but you can figure it out. I do enjoy taking the buses though, because it's a new city. I want to be able to look out the window, see the different areas. So sometimes if I didn't have anything to do for that day, I might just hop on the bus, get lost, and just let it go and just explore the whole city. You don't know where I'm going to end up. I might be on the bus for a few hours, end up in all the way on the other side of Seoul. Anytime I get lost, I could just get a taxi and just tell him my address and he'll just drive me back. But the bus system is a great way to get out, get around, especially to explore the city. But the underground's super efficient. You can get anywhere with the underground.
Mm. So, quick question, brother. Now I'm 6 foot.
Okay.
So if I go, if I go like South Korea and I walk about, how tall are they on average?
You know what's interesting? So they're definitely, on a whole, shorter than people in the West. But I've noticed something in Seoul. The men are getting ridiculously tall. I saw a lot of Korean men, um, 5'11" or 6 foot and over. I was shocked. I was
Oh,
really
dang.
shocked. The younger generation is definitely getting taller. I don't know what they're eating, what's in the water. But when you leave the big city Seoul, you do find that they are shorter people. You still do get a lot of shorter women over there. But in Seoul, as on a whole, Korea, they are much shorter than us as Westerners. But you'll be surprised, man. Amongst the younger generation, you'll see quite a lot of taller men. Yeah, I was shocked to see that. I'm not that tall myself. I'm just average. I'm just about 5'8", so I still fit in perfectly in Korea. A lot of the women are shorter than me. A lot of the guys are either the same height as me or shorter. But again, lastly, don't be surprised to see tall men over there amongst the younger generation.
Mm. I mean, I guess that goes to show, like, when you actually go to the source, you start to see everything.
Mm.
Because usually people talk bad on these type of countries when they haven't even been there, so which is funny
Yeah,
to me.
I don't get it. Honestly, I
Yeah,
don't get it. Like, I see a lot of people online, they've spoken negatively about Korea, and then I find out they've never been. So I'm thinking, where are you getting this information from? This is just something you've just made up in your head, or maybe
yeah,
media is powerful. Again, like, for me, like I said, I never had any preconceived notions about South Korea. I didn't know much about it or anything about it until I ended up there by pure accident. So I went in with a completely open mind, no preconceived conception. So I was never disappointed. I was more shocked in a positive way, like, wow, this place is amazing.
So what's the everyday food choices people go for there in South Korea?
Okay, Korean food is definitely
Kimchi.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no. So kimchi is like one of the top choices, right, in South Korea to go to.
Oh, kimchi is a main staple, but they serve kimchi with damn near everything.
Oh.
So it's not like a main dish or anything. It's like a side dish, but they just serve it with everything. Just yeah, you never have to go anywhere and expect just to be eating kimchi, but you'll definitely have it with whatever you're ordering. Yeah, they serve it everywhere. But man, in terms of food, Korean food is amazing, and I would hands down say Korean food is better than Chinese food. Absolutely, and it's not as
Oh
oily.
wow.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, I would, because I love Chinese food, man. Especially when I got to China. After living in China, I couldn't get a Chinese takeaway back in the UK. It just didn't taste the same to me anymore. Once you've had it really authentic, I just couldn't go back to having a takeaway in the UK. It just wasn't the same for me. But I would say Korean food is better. Absolutely, absolutely.
What?
But yeah, yeah,
I never had
man.
it before, so
I
because
know
I'm
it
just
sounds
like you,
crazy.
I love Chinese food, but if I go here, bro, I might actually love the Korean food.
I
That's
know it
crazy.
sounds crazy, man, because we grew up on Chinese food,
Yeah.
man. Chinese takeaway, all of that, kung po, orange chicken, all of that. But yeah, bro, honestly, Korean food is better and it's healthier. It's nowhere near as oily. You don't feel that in your stomach afterwards. So Korean food, there's so many different options. Okay, I'm gonna say this hands down, and I know I've said this to so many brothers, other black men back here in the UK, and they look at me like I'm crazy. But Korea, hands down, has the best fried chicken I've ever had, and this is coming from a black Jamaican man, but they have the best fried chicken, hands down.
I've heard that before, man.
Man, they fry up some chicken good, man, and there's so many different flavors. You got the plain, just the normal crispy fried chicken. You've got the sweet chili, the soy and garlic. That's one of my favorites. The sweet and spicy. There's this cheesy crust one, which is amazing. And I don't really like cheese, but the cheesy crust one's amazing. There's so many choices and flavors, bro. Honestly, the South Korean fried chicken is on another level. It's actually banging. And again, I never went to Korea with any preconceived notions. I had no expectations, no nothing. I just took what came. I can honestly say, the man. Oh, I'm thinking about it now. Just memories, just flashbacks. I'm just like, man. I'm gonna give you a spot for fried chicken. So there's a spot in Hongdae. It's called BBQ. BBQ chicken in Hongdae. Banging fried chicken. If you ever get to Korea, go to Hongdae and get off at exit 9. Yeah, exit 9 in Hongdae. When you're at exit 9, just ask anybody, hey, can you direct me to BBQ Chicken? It'll just be around the corner, maybe a 2-minute walk. The chicken there is amazing. Other dishes, they do some amazing stews. Kimchi jjigae is nice. It's a kimchi stew. It sounds horrible. Like, what? Kimchi in a stew? But man, it is banging, banging. The kimchi jjigae is good. Another one of my favorites is a dish called yukkaejang. I'll say again, yukkaejang. So it's a beef stew, and they serve it with rice. The moment you taste the soup, oh my gosh, the flavor just bursts in your mouth. It's so flavorful. I don't know how they season their food, but it's on point. It's on point. The stews are amazing. There's a if you like seafood, if anyone likes seafood, there's a seafood dish. It's also like a seafood soup or a seafood stew called jampong. Jampong. If you're by the coast, so Gangneung. Oh, I didn't mention this place. Gangneung is by the coast, very popular spot by the coast. And Busan, they will have the best jampong. It's a seafood soup. It comes with prawns, mussels, squid, and they serve it with rice. It's a bit on the spicier side, so if you don't like spice, I wouldn't get it. The beef stew I mentioned before, yukkaejang is not spicy, just super flavorful. But the jampong, the seafood stew, very spicy. That is absolutely divine. It's banging. A lot of side dishes, a lot of vegetable side dishes, so very healthy. What else do they have that's really good? The bibimbap is good, especially when you have it with this red sauce. It's a spicy sauce called oh, bear with me. It's on the top of my head. Hold on. Gosh, it's skipped me. When it comes back to me, I'll tell you. There's a specific spicy sauce. You ask for this in a restaurant when you have your bibimbap, and the way it just soaks in the rice, with the meat, the beef, or if you eat pork, the pork, whatever meat you're into, with the rice and the vegetables and the seasoning. Gochujang, that's it. The sauce is called gochujang. Gochujang. It's a spicy red paste. You put that in your bibimbap. You mix it in the rice. Oh man, amazing! Yeah, Korean food is banging, and there's so many different choices.
Man, that just makes me want to go there even more.
Oh, bro, the food
I'm
culture over
missing
there
out,
is
man.
crazy.
So, how's the health and fitness over there?
Oh, okay. So about this one now, then now you're onto a topic I really enjoyed, especially in Korea. So here's the difference between China and Korea. So I lived in China. The fitness industry in China is very new. So you do have gyms over there, but they don't really know what you're doing. That's what I said. If you're a fitness instructor, you don't even have to be. If you just not have any knowledge of fitness, you go and set up shop over there in China. Just say you're a fitness trainer. You don't really need too much paperwork. It's China. It's like, yeah, you could get away with a lot, and you will start getting some clients. You're a strong guy. You get clients. You just go to the gym, work out, talk to people. You are going to make serious money. The fitness industry is very new in China, and there's money to be made in that avenue. I went over there teaching English, but I had a side hustle, doing fitness training. I would just go to the gym, create some workouts, chat to people, get their WeChat. WeChat is their version of WhatsApp. And yeah, then I just started charging people to train with them. So that was a good hustle for me. There's money to be made there. Now, in terms of Korea was the complete opposite. Korea fitness is booming, booming. There's gyms everywhere, and Korean people are very fit. You're seeing girls walk around with yoga mats everywhere. Pilates has blown up in Korea, like all over the country. Women everywhere are doing Pilates right now, and they're just so fit. So it's not uncommon to see Korean girls with absolutely toned bodies, whether she's on the thicker side or she's on the more slim thick side or even on the more slim skinny side. Regardless of her size, she's going to be toned. And that's one thing I noticed about Korean women. They are very toned. Brothers like different kinds of sizes. You pick whatever size you want, but you will get a toned woman at least, because they're all doing Pilates over there. They're all in the gym now, lifting weights. I've seen some very fit and strong Korean guys, which I was very shocked by. I do martial arts. I do Muay Thai and Jiu Jitsu. So I love training in Korea. The level over there, the martial arts level was very high. China was good, but it was okay. But Korea was better. The level was very high. So much fun. Yeah, dudes are in the gym going hard. There's public parks everywhere in Seoul. I've noticed like you can go to a park and they will have a weight section. There's just free weights there, or there's a bench press there, or there's a leg machine just there in the park, and loads of free weights. That it's just a whole gym in the park, and it's just a gift to the people. And it's not one or two; it's everywhere. It's not uncommon to find these gym parks dotted all over the city. So you wouldn't even have to get a gym membership. Just go to the park and work out. They have a bench press, leg machine, pull-up bar, free weights, everything you need. So yeah, the fitness culture in Korea is definitely there. Absolutely.
Mm. So I guess now that we talked about fitness, how's like the fashion sense over there? I'm guessing is mostly in like suits and stuff or like casual wear.
Ooh, it's both actually, both, and it depends on the area. Now, whether it's more professional, or more casual, more business wear, regardless of the attire. Korea is a very, very fashionable society, and dressing well takes you a long way over there. In China, I noticed you can just wear whatever, no one really cares. But in Korea, I've noticed they take way better care of themselves. And even in China, you're starting to see a lot in the major cities like Beijing, Shanghai. A lot of the men are adopting Korean style. They're doing Korean style haircuts. They're wearing the turtlenecks with the long coat, with the long waistcoat. That's a Korean style. The turtleneck with the long waistcoat. You've seen a lot more Chinese men doing that. A lot of Chinese women actually go to Korea to do shopping and to get plastic surgery. Yeah, it's huge. Korea, I think, has the highest rate of plastic surgery in the whole world per capita. It's a bit nuts, and a lot of Chinese. You'll see a lot of Chinese tourists over there to one buy fashion, to get plastic surgery, but just based on the fashion, it's a very fashionable society. So yeah, whether casually, business attire, you're gonna see people dressed very, very well. Especially again, you go to Gangnam, you're gonna see suits. That's the money district. You're gonna see a lot of suits, a lot of brands. Hongdae, Itaewon is going to be, well, Itaewon is the party place, so girls and men will always be dressed up very well, even if it's casual, still look nice. Hongdae is a bit more laid back. Hongdae is a bit more hipster and more university age, so you can see a bit of everything there. But even then, in the club areas where people are going out in the bars, you're going to see girls dressed up, absolutely dressed up. They know how to dress over there in Korea. They're very fashionable, take care of their skin. All Korean, I can't even say women, all Korean people, men and women, are obsessed with skincare. Obsessed. They have amazing, flawless skin. They are so focused on how they look and taking care of themselves. Very vain country, very vain. But you can take that either positive or negative. I won't put a judgment on it. It actually comes down to your subjective understanding. But it's a very vain nation, regardless of whether that's good or bad. Yeah, I'll leave it there.
So, how's the day life and nightlife? You seem to enjoy it there when you was there.
I had a fantastic time. Whether day or night, there's so much to see. Um, Again, I do martial arts, so I bounced around a lot of different gyms in the daytime. So I just love getting lost, especially when I'm in a new country. Often, what I do is daytime, as I said before, I'd be on the bus, just roam around, see what's around different areas. The different areas are so different. In the evenings, what I'd like to do once a week, what I would do is I'll just get in a taxi and I'll just tell him drive, just drive. It's 1 a.m. I'm in the taxi, just cruising through the city, just seeing all the lights, just looking out. It's just you, no one else. It's a great time to see the city. The roads are clear, so you're just cruising. Personally, that was just something I did about once a week. I loved it. That was a great way to see the city. Uh, Not everyone's cup of tea, but I run. Because again, for training, I run a lot. So in the evenings, I'd go running or jogging or early morning. That was a great way to see the city. But if not that, walk. I'd say walk, just walk and get lost. And you'll be surprised. You'll just start finding gems, such as like you might find a new coffee shop on some side road or a restaurant that you never even could have found online. You're always gonna, there's so much to explore and see. It's impossible to be bored. Just walk and get lost. Look at the map of Seoul. Just do something random. Put your finger on the map. Say, okay, I guess I'm going to that area today. If not, just walking around, and there's just so much to do, brother. So much to do, honestly. Whether day or night, you won't get bored. You will not get bored. Especially if you meet a nice Korean lady, she's gonna show you so many places to go, nice places to eat, things to do. So yeah, can't get bored. Absolutely can't.
So, this is actually a question that the audience really definitely want to know. Um, Now, would you say the women in South Korea are they really feminine compared to like the West?
Compared to the West, absolutely, absolutely. They win by a thousand miles. Women in South, 1,000 miles. The difference is night and day. Night and day. Women in South Korea are way more feminine. than the West, way more cooperative. And there's just beauty everywhere. Like, it's not uncommon to just see pretty women everywhere. But with that said, you know, no country's a utopia, especially when you're in the city center and you're in the clubbing areas that I mentioned. You're gonna find a lot of westernized. You can find westernized Korean women. Korea has a heavy influence from the States creeping in. They have military bases everywhere, so absolutely stay away from the women that hang around the military bases. They have absolutely been ran through by every Pookie and Ray Ray in Korea. And even if it's not a Pookie and a Ray Ray, just every black man in Korea has been there, man. She is a public bus stop. Everyone's had a ride. Trust me, stay away from women on the bases. So you can get women like that, especially those ones on the bases and in the hip hop clubs. They have a term for them. They call them juicy girls. I think it was the GIs in Korea. They started calling them the juicy girls. Just imagine a Korean Cardi B. I know that sounds nuts, but just imagine like Cardi B, but Korean. You do get those kind of women, and they're the ones that hunt for military men, and they hunt for foreigners in the bars. But your normal everyday Korean woman, just on a general scale, very feminine, very fit. They are a bit more outspoken than Japanese women. They are shy in Korea, very shy. And I warn brothers, cold approaching is very possible. I've been successful many times in cold approaching, and I believe any brother can be. But don't be put off straight away if the reaction isn't exactly what you're looking for, or doesn't seem too excited. Not always is it a fact that it might not be the case that she doesn't like you or she's not checking for you. You just got to remember it's a different society, and people going up to speak to strangers is not a thing in that country. You don't do that. So they'll be more open to it because you're a foreigner, but other Koreans don't do that. So it's a shock for them. So if they're just stone-faced and stiff, don't take that as she's not interested in you. Keep the conversation going. Just keep going, and it may end up in success. I'll just say, don't be put off if the reaction isn't as receptive the first time around. Either she's shy, or again, it's just not her culture. So she's shocked. She doesn't know you. You're a stranger. She's thinking, oh, what do you want? But keep the conversation going. When she sees, you know, you're a cool guy, you're kind of funny, yeah, you might get that number. So yeah, Korean women are so feminine, brother, so feminine.
How's the online dating over there? Is it more straightforward? Is there any like gimmicks to watch out for or whatnot?
Okay, you're gonna have crazy success with online dating. Crazy success in terms of, again, what you're looking for. If you just want to have fun, have a good time, it's easy to online date in South Korea. Honestly, it really is. But it's harder to find a quality woman. Not impossible, but harder. To find a quality woman for dating purposes, I'd say you want a cold approach, meet them outside, or meet them just in daily life as you're going about your day. The university, the coffee shop. Another great place I always recommend to brothers, whatever you do in your home country, if you have some sort of hobby, I say to brothers, have something. When I say what do you do, I don't just mean your profession. Like, what do you do? Like, for me personally, I like martial arts, so I do that, or I like activities, I might go hiking, or whatever it is you do, man. Do you do salsa? Do you dance? Do you run? Or I don't know, whatever you do, technology, just go do that in whatever country you're in, and you're already ahead of the game because the women you meet, you already have an in with them because you have something in common. From the get-go, you already have something in common. So you're probably gonna have some sort of chemistry there, something to talk about. You already have a conversation starter there. So that's my personal favorite way to meet women, is just to go do whatever you do anyway in that country. So I was very successful in the martial arts gyms, dated a few girls from the gyms. So again, with online now, you can absolutely have a good time, but the quality is hit and miss. As in, is she for fun or is she to take seriously? You can find both, but it's hit and miss.
Mm. So What percentage of the Korean people actually speak English? Is it pretty high, pretty low?
Okay, in Korea in general, it's very low, but in Seoul, a lot of people speak English. I was quite surprised. A lot of people speak English, and so they're just going to be very shy to you, very, very shy. Yeah, so they probably won't. Again, they won't come up to you and start speaking English. They're very shy. It's not like China. In China, there's no respect for personal space or privacy. They'll just be in your face, staring at you, come up to you, start talking to you, start touching you. There's no respect for personal space or privacy in China. But in Korea, they're very subtle. If a girl's sending you choosing signals, she'll look away. The moment you catch her looking, she just looks away. And that might not be a sign of disinterest. That's just a shyness. They
Yeah.
won't hold a gaze with you. That's just not them. So yeah, man. Yeah.
So how important is actually learning Korean if you're a passport bro trying to travel over there?
Okay. If you're just passing through just a week or two, you don't need to really know Korean, especially if you're in Seoul. If you're just going for a good time, just to check out a new country, new environment, you don't really need it in Seoul. But if you're planning on seeing Korea as a country and getting a wider view and you want to visit other cities, I would invest in learning Korean because the moment you leave the bigger cities such as Busan and Seoul, the level drops drastically. You'll be okay in Seoul, especially in the tourist area. So Hongdae, Itaewon, maybe even Gangnam. But when you start going to the more low key areas that are still very fun but not very touristy, Korean helps. You might find less people that speak English. But again, in Seoul, a lot of people do. In Seoul, a lot of people do. But if you're planning on being there for a longer period of time, absolutely. Absolutely. It will absolutely change the quality of your experience there. And I learned this from being in China and learning Chinese. There were some people I met in China that lived in China for maybe 8 years, where I was only there for what, same as Korea, 7 months, because I came back early because of the pandemic. But in that say 7 months, I would have had a richer experience than people who lived there for 7, 8 years because they didn't invest in learning the language. And when I dated in China, a lot of the women had never ever dated a foreigner before. I was the first foreigner they ever dated. It was a rich experience. Same in Korea. A lot of women I dated could speak English, a lot could, but I found the best experience I had was with the ones that didn't speak English either at all or as well. They were the most feminine, not exposed too much to Western culture. Again, Korea has a big American influence, so they know things about the West, but they don't embody it as much, if that makes sense. They know of it, but they don't embody it. Um, so yeah, depends on what you're looking for. Anything more meaningful and long term, invest in learning Korean. Even just a little bit, it will take you a long way. If it's just to have fun, you don't really need it.
So what kind of jobs can tourists like or passport bros usually get when they want to travel and work there?
Okay, with this one for Korea, I'd say your best bet is to already work remotely before you get there. I personally think that is the best option. I know not everybody has that option, but for the brothers that do or who can with a little work, I would 100% take up that option. If you have like your own online business or you work in IT and you work remotely or you do any kind of remote work or have your own business, that is the best way to enjoy Korea. Um, you're working on American dollars or British pounds, but living on Korean prices, that's fantastic. And also in Korea, the working culture is very strict and difficult, similar to Japan, very disciplined and very strict. China was piss, man, piss easy. They didn't really care in China. You could get away with so much, very relaxed for foreigners anyway, at least. But in Korea, the working culture, there won't be as much expectation on you as it does for Korean people, but there's a notable difference than China, where China was so relaxed. Yeah, Korea, They're more strict and disciplined. The most common job for a foreigner to get is teaching English. That's your best way to get in the country if you want to be there long term and you don't have a remote job or you don't have a business that could sustain you. Teaching English is your best way to get into the country if you want to be there long term. It's easy to get a job teaching English, and preferably if you have a university degree, you get a better deal. If you don't have a university degree, it's going to be hard getting an English teaching job in Korea. You can do it in China, but it'll be difficult in Korea. Not impossible, but difficult, and you won't get paid as much. If you have any other profession, such as IT or any other industry, you can get a job in Korea, but it's going to be very difficult without the language. Very difficult. Compared to Japan, if you work in IT, you can get a high paying, close to six-figure job working IT in Tokyo, and you will never have to learn Japanese. Will it help? Yes, but they absolutely hire for English-speaking roles very often, actually. But whereas in Korea, you're going to have to know Korean. The language matters unless you're speaking English, then you don't need it. So that's why I said your best bet is either speaking English or already being remote or having a business. But any other profession, if you're looking to do that in Korea, you got to have Korean.
Okay. So, are there any negative traits about the people in South Korea that you could think of?
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. There's again, no place is a utopia. Sorry, so is it about Korea or the Korean people? I guess it's one and the
Either
same.
both or just one.
Okay. There's a few. So firstly, when you're dating a Korean woman, expect jealousy from the men. Yeah, expect a lot of jealousy. So my experience when I
from
was,
the man.
oh yeah, from the men, expect a lot of jealousy from Korean men. If you're dating a Korean woman, you can expect some jealousy. Again, now it's different from China. In China, you're going to feel the hate straight up. They do not hide anything in China. They will stare at you, screw face you, cuss out, curse. They don't give a damn in China. They're just out there with it. Korea is going to be very subtle and more beat around the bush. So, for example, one of my jiu-jitsu gyms, I was dating a girl from the gym. She was really pretty. We actually ended up getting really serious. She was probably my most serious relationship I had in South Korea. The moment I started dating her, I started noticing the coach was treating me differently. And he was a bit shorter with me in class. It was more like, almost like, rather than correcting my moves, it's almost like he's trying to give me a telling off. I'm thinking, whoa, bro, I'm a grown-ass man. Who's talking to you? Come on, yeah. But so I started noticing those little subtle things. It wasn't crazy in your face, but I noticed certain little things. And again, they're so behind your back with it. It was the girl I was dating. She revealed it to me how, man, some crazy. So, for example, let me tell you this one story. So we just finished training, done a lunchtime class. I always like to I showered in the gym for lunchtime class. In the evening, I'll just go shower at home. But lunchtime class, I knew I'd probably be going out straight after training, might explore a bit or have something to do. So I'll shower in the gym and keep it moving. So when I was in the shower after class, I left with my lady. Something was off with her. Now, the good thing I do like about Korean women is that I can't speak for every nation, but unlike Japanese women, for example, to compare, they don't really tell you their feelings like that. A Japanese woman will hide how she truly feels, and you just won't know, or she just won't tell you. At least in Korea, they are shy. They can be very shy, but they won't hide either. Like in my experience, I found Korean women will be honest and upright with if they have a problem with something. They'll let you know. They'll tell you if they don't like something, which I appreciate. I don't always want to be walking on eggshells. So we got to lunch. And I asked her, what's going on? I noticed your energy changed. What's going on? And she told me when I was in the shower, the coach went to her and started scolding her, said, what are you doing? Why are you waiting on Ramel? Go home. You don't need to wait on him. What do you think you're doing? And I'm thinking, what? When I came out of the shower, when I came out the shower, brother, I didn't see none of this. And my guy says like, oh, okay, yeah, hi, bye, Ram, I'll see you tomorrow. You coming training? Yeah. Yeah,
No
literally.
way.
Literally, bro, I never would have known. But she told me, she put me on game that this happened while I was in the shower. But when I came outside, I never would have never would have guessed. The dude's like, yeah, see you see you tomorrow. But he's scolding her for like, why are you waiting on me? He's telling her, go home, don't wait on me, don't wait for me. And I'm thinking, damn, the jealousy is real, real.
The fact that she actually told you just showed how much she actually loved you, man. So
Word,
that's a great thing, man.
100%, man. And that's the thing. She was special, but I will say you do find that often with Korean women, they don't hide things, and that's what I do like. And they'll tell you how they feel. Now that goes both ways. If she's got a problem with you, she'll tell you that too. So, but it's not. It doesn't come with the attitude and the bad, ill intentions. It's more they're just sharing how they're hurt or how they're upset or disappointed by something, and because it's so feminine and it doesn't come with attitude or malice, it's really heartwarming. And that kind of energy is what a lot of brothers are missing in the West. You know, just that feminine, nurturing, kind energy. And even when they're telling you something that's wrong or negative, you don't take it seriously because it's packaged in this feminine,
Yeah,
nice, sweet. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, but brother, the jealousy thing, that's a negative, and it happens a lot. But here's where I say the women are honest with you, the men won't be. They won't be honest if they're not really feeling you. If they got an issue with you, they'll just not like you from a distance and hate on you in secret. So yeah, that's something to look out for. Also in South Korea, what can I say? After a while, when you're dating seriously, look out for a woman who speaks English just a little too well. It's okay. You want her to speak English well so you can communicate if she does, but she's still got her Korean accent. That's a good thing. And she messes words up a little bit. That's a good thing. Look out for the ones that just speak very well, almost have an American or Australian, British, some sort of Western country's accent.
oh yeah, man.
Oh yeah, look out for that, man. Yeah, either she's just westernized or she's been ran through by foreigners, or it's both. Or it's both. And if she uses a lot of slang. I remember I met a girl online on Tinder, set a time to date her, and she said to me, I bet. And I looked at my phone like, wait,
Yeah, that was
what?
a red flag.
Like, what? Yeah, man. And then, like, obviously, no surprise, I found out she lived in LA, loved black dudes, got ran
Oh
through with a lot
dang,
of black
dude.
dudes in LA. Yeah, so I'm thinking that's why you be speaking so much slang. What do you mean, I bet? I'm like, what? And then I found out she listens to little TJ.
Oh man.
So yeah, man, I'd look out for that, man. If the English is too good, she speaks slang, very westernized. Recreational use only, brother. Recreational use only. So look out for that. And again, Korea is very exposed to America. So in the big cities in Seoul, just pay attention to that and vet properly.
So, would you say there's any dangers to be aware of in South Korea?
Oh,
I'm pretty sure they're probably more safe than America.
oh,
That's
wait, say much more. Not really, brother. Not really. South Korea is really safe. Like I have no problems. Again, I used to go from runs at night, early in the morning, like 1 a.m., go for a run, 12 o'clock, go for a run. And I felt no way about being out in the dark by myself, 1, 2, 3, whatever o'clock in the morning. Just no issues at all. No issues at all. Korea is very safe. Not much, no, if hardly any physical violence at all. They don't really have physical crimes like that. They do have crime amongst, but it's more of an issue for Korean people than foreigners. Like now, one of the bad things about Korea, and this ties in with your previous question in terms of danger and what's bad, they have a lot of sexual crime, and it's weird. A lot of like perversion of, let's say, similar to Japan, guys trying to grope a woman on the underground, on the subway, or taking pictures underneath her dress. they have those weird crimes, and a lot of crime online, again, is very like sexually perverted. And I think it's because, let me not even make an excuse for them, but sexuality has always been very hush hush. Again, it's Asian society, is not as out there and freely spoken about like
Yeah.
the West, which can be seen as a good or a bad thing. I see it as mostly good, but I do also would argue sometimes, not all the time, sometimes whatever you suppress, you feed. And because sex is very taboo amongst the public, yeah, a lot of times you find they're lacking sexual education and they don't know what to do with these urges. Like there's a lot of sexual crime over there, and it's not uncommon to hear of stories of men blackmailing women. They might have nudes of them, or yeah, some explicit pictures,
Dang.
embarrassing pictures, and they'll threaten them and say, "Hey, I will send this to your family members or to your work colleagues. So now you're basically my slave." So they'll have them doing all kinds of things on webcam or sending them money, scamming them out of money. But it's mainly like sending nudes or doing sexual acts on camera. These kind of things happens quite a lot throughout Korea, but foreigners will never know. And that's why I say, if you plan on being there long term, invest in learning the language. You will have a richer experience. And I'm only got this info from being able to speak a bit of Korean now and dating Korean women who their English wasn't that great. So now I've got an in. So I see the country on a whole deeper level now, not just this touristy stuff that's on the surface. I start to actually understand now how society works. What's the family system like? What's the family structure like? What problems do real Koreans face in Korea? So I'm seeing another level that's not just a tourist.
Man, that's definitely a gem right there. All those just dropped, man. That's pure gems.
Yeah, but it's very uncommon. Like any girl you're dating, ask them if they, either them or someone they know, have ever been like had their bum grabbed on the subway in school or growing up, and or even as an adult. It's a big thing. They, again, no violent crimes, but the sexual crimes are there. Yeah. So it's safer for us as passport bros, foreigners. Very safe country. No threat of violence, none of that. But they have other weird crimes.
So, what's the religion they go by over there in South Korea?
Mm. So South Korea is a very Christian nation, and they take it very seriously over there, to the point where actually, bro, it can become very cultish in certain places. I remember I was out one time. It was when I was very new. It was probably only my second or third week. Some old Korean guys came over to talk to me. They had some signs. I couldn't read Korean at the time, but I understood the pictures. I'm like, okay, these are some church people. But when they're talking to me, I couldn't really understand them. One Russian lady, I kid you not, ran out of the shop and came over to us screaming, "Don't listen to them. It's a scam. It's a scam." And then you could see they started looking just like annoyed. They looked pissed off, and then they started walking off. And then she came over to me and she said, "Hey, be careful with all these like religious people that just come up to you randomly to try and speak to you on the street. It's a scam." And I've came to find out that, yeah, there's a lot of extreme Christian cults in Korea. Really bad, like cults. I don't mean as in like they're just super devout. I mean, no, very cultish. They have a lot of cults in Korea, so look out for that. But besides that, on the extreme end, although it's actually quite common, it's extreme but common. Korea is a very strong Christian nation. Again, a lot of younger generation in the big cities are veering away from that. Some just don't believe in anything, practicing atheism. But the country as a whole, not just Seoul or the major cities where you find less, but the country as a whole, very religious. Some still into Buddhism, but Christianity is very strong in Korea, and it's not uncommon to speak to a Korean girl and she tell you stories about growing up going to Korean church on Sundays.
So, do you have any extra stories for the viewers, or just one for South Korea?
What kind of stories? It depends. I don't know
Um,
how
any
far
one
we can go.
story for South Korea that you have experienced?
Um, Man, there's so many, so many. Okay, I'll just say a few if that's okay. But I'll make it short. This one wasn't nothing crazy. I'm just making a recommendation. I just something interesting I found out. So mountain climbing or hiking is it's very popular in Korea. Like a lot of people often go climbing in the mountains on the weekend, and it's a lot of fun. Do it because they have some huge, gorgeous mountains. I went to one called Ingwansan. It's the second largest in Seoul, and when you get to the top, you can just see over the whole city, and it's really breathtaking. It's really gorgeous. So I did that as a date with one girl I was dating. That was a really fun day. And then I found out when we was on the top of the mountain, again, there's certain things tourists don't know unless you have it in. So from dating her, she told me it's very common that Korean men, this is how they cheat on their wives. They go mountain climbing, and a mountain climber is an excuse for a Korean man to cheat.
Oh wow!
So anytime you hear about any dads or uncles and like they're always going like climbing or hiking in the hills, he's probably sneaking out on his wife. Yeah, man. And he takes the missus up and they're on top of the mountain, kissing, doing their thing. So yeah, it's a known thing that Korean men who do a lot of hiking is basically a way to cheat on their wife.
That's funny, dude.
Yeah, man. So I found that out. That was really funny, man. That was definitely dope, man. Oh yeah, there's another interesting story. One other one. So again, Korea is no threat of physical violence or anything like that. But I did get into one altercation just one time. So I was out in Gangnam, the more upper end location I told you about. So this was when I was dating the girl from the university, the Ehua University I told you about, the piano major. So we went out in Gangnam. We was at a bar. There's a bar called Thursday's Party. Very popular. It's a chain. They're all over Seoul. A lot of people go there to pre-drink before they go out. Or some people don't. The club's not your vibe. You just would rather have a nice bar to go to. A lot of people go to Thursday Party. So for the viewers there, you can check out Thursday Party. Great place to take a girl for a drink. So we're there. I met a Korean guy who spent a few years in Canada, so he spoke English very well, had a Canadian accent. He came over, and I could tell there was something wrong with him. He was drunk, but there was more to it. I came to find out he was high as shit. He was high, and I'm thinking like smoking green in Korea is a big thing. You will get your ass deported. Is they clamp down on that hard, clamp down on that heavy. So I'm thinking, how the hell did this guy manage this? Because I know how Koreans feel about it, and it's very difficult to get it. So I found out I was right because he didn't smell like it. He was vaping it. So he had a vape. So he was high and drunk. He came over acting a fool. I'm trying to have my date with my lady. I don't want to be rude. So I entertained him for a little bit, having a conversation with him. We're getting to know each other. But it got to the point where he started being too pushy, and he actually called me the N-word. So he was just like, yeah, man, it's nice to meet you, ma. Yeah. And that's when I was just like, whoa, wait, yo, pause, hold the phone. I was like, bro, I don't care where you lived. If you've been in Canada, America, whatever, I ain't playing those games. Don't ever call me that again. I'm letting you get away with one time only. But I'm just warning you and just saying respectfully, man to man, I don't like that. Don't call me that. No, I'm good. So he's like, oh, okay, my bad. The story gets worse. So imagine, so he's been bothering us all night. I can see my girls getting annoyed. I asked him to leave. I went to the bathroom now. I came back. Again, I see the energy on my lady's changed. She's just being a bit more standoffish with me. So we leave. We go upstairs to leave. We're outside. The bar's closed. He said it again. He said something like my ninja. And I can tell he's just drunk right now. But I was just about to get into it with him. But then I see like my lady just kind of stormed off. So I just left him. I went back over to her. I took her to the bus stop. She asked me to say, can you just take me to the bus stop? I want to go home. She was supposed to go home with me that night. So the dude ruined my whole.
You ruined it.
ruined my whole setup. So I got her to the bus stop, and then I asked her what was wrong. And then she told me, so my guy, when I went to the bathroom, went over to her and started chatting a whole load of crap to her, saying, "Oh, why are you with Ramel? I bet it's just because he's black and he's got a big, you know what?" And he was just like, "Oh, is that why you're with him? Is that why you're dating a black guy? Yeah, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me?" So you see the hate. This is what I meant
Dang.
before about the jealousy and the hate of career dudes. And he never said nothing to me. Never said nothing in my face. Was all trying to be nice. It went until I went to the bathroom. He's saying all this crap to my girl, and then she told me that he said to her, "Yeah, you might as well just leave Ramel and come for me." And then he's like, "Yeah, but I know you're not going to anyway because I don't have a big, you know what, like him." So he said to her, "Oh, why don't we just have a threesome then, so you can get the black D you love so much, and then I can get you." And I couldn't believe what she was telling me. So this guy's gone. We've left him now. My blood's starting to kind of boil a little bit because this guy, one, disrespected me behind my back, disrespected my lady, and fully just cop blocked and ruined my whole night. Like she wants to go home. So like, and he called me a ninja twice by now. So all these things stacked up. I'm kind of pissed off right now. So I leave her. She gets on the bus. I walk back. I won't lie to you. Yeah, I kind of went to find him. Not my best time, and I don't advocate nonsense abroad. Don't move like a pookie and that. But honestly, I'm just gonna be honest. Like, it's not my proudest moment. I found him back by the bar. He was with two other Korean dudes. I pretended like everything was all good. I said, "Hey man, nice to see you again," blah blah blah. And then he's called me a ninja for the third time. He said, "Yo guys, yeah, this is my ninja Ramel." So at that point, I said, "You know what? I'm gonna deal with this guy. I had enough." So I said to him, "I need to go to the bathroom. Like, can you just show me where can I find like any place like I can go real quick?" And he said, "Oh, I'm not sure. Everything's closed." I was like, "Oh man, maybe we'll find somewhere that's open. Like, oh, come with me. I'm a tourist here. I don't really know Korea. Come." So he's like, "Okay." So we started walking. It's late now because the bar's finished. It's in the morning. In the morning. Um, so in Korea, sometimes you see a lot of apartment buildings. The main entrance is just open, and again, like the place is so safe. You don't really. Now that sounds crazy, but you responsible for locking your own apartment door. But the main entrance to the building is open. Anyone can go in because there's not really a threat of like robbery or anything like that. So all the buildings are just open. So we went in to one building, and he turned around and said, "Hey man, I don't think there's a bathroom here." And I'll be honest with you, I just dealt with him. I just gave him just one, dropped him. And yeah, man, I told him straight up. I was like, "Listen, man, my girl told me everything you did. Like, you're an asshole, bro. Like, you're not a real man. Why didn't you come talk to me in my face? Like, you deal with my woman behind my back. You called me a ninja 3 times." And I said to him, "Don't ever, ever in your life call another black man that again, because this is the kind of stuff that happens." I said, "You brought this on yourself." So then I just left. And he said sorry, but I didn't care. I just left. And yeah, man, that was the one altercation I ever got into in Korea. But besides that, the people are lovely. Don't be put off by this one idiot. The people are lovely. No one will be calling you no racist slurs. I do believe this was a one-off.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of those situations, man. You gotta set the boundaries, and which you did, man. And you just kept pushing and pushing, and it escalated. So,
Yeah, yeah. So now that's it right there. That's a few of my crazy career stories. There's so many, but man, I just advise everyone go and make your own memories because you will have an adventure. Absolutely.
so do you have any last words for the viewers out there in the world?
Sure. Brothers, whatever you're doing, stay on your path. Make quick decisions. That's one thing that really helps me, and I struggled with before. And a lot of my personal success has come from spotting an opportunity and acting on it quickly. Yes, don't be reckless. Still analyze things. Analyze things as you do your due diligence, but make a quick decision and don't get stuck in analysis paralysis. If there's a country you want to go to, do it. If there's a course you want to do, a business you want to do it, and let it all tie into your long-term goal. For me, it was leaving the UK, going to Korea. I still want to do that again. Because of the pandemic, I couldn't go back to teach English. So I had to think to myself, okay, what can I do that can get me abroad? And that led me to getting into IT. So I realized, okay, IT is, we live in a digital age. IT, if not having a business for myself, IT is the only profession that could, one, well, not the only, but one of the few that could pay me a ridiculously high salary, but also offer me the geographical location freedom I wanted. So, okay, I could work for a US based or UK company and be over in Korea. So, yeah, my last closing message is whatever avenue you take to get abroad as a passport bro, make quick decisions, stay on your path, stay focused, don't get distracted by these chicks over here in the West, because there's so much more for you out there in terms of dating, lifestyle, life quality. As long as you're stuck in the West, man, just stay focused on your path and get out.
Man, fantastic advice, man. Um, and there you have it, guys. Make sure you look after yourselves from around the world, and I'll see you guys on the next live stream. Have a good one.